joining us, and we're excited to hear from her. She's coming to us from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Did I
West
get that right?
Haven.
West Haven. I'm sorry, West Haven, Connecticut. I don't know anybody in Bridgeport, so I don't know how I pulled that up.
I'm from Bridgeport, though. I was born in Bridgeport.
So, okay. So, from West Haven, Connecticut, and we're excited to have you here. I am excited to have you here and to get to know you. These interviews are so refreshing. It allows me to expand our network and get to know one another. So, let's start off by you sharing what it is you do in the graphic design industry and the services you provide.
Well, I started Divine Designs and Consulting about 7 years ago now. And some of the services, I have a long list of services, but I guess you say the main services that I do provide is web design, web development, app design, graphic design like flyers, logos, and I do business consulting and social media consulting and event planning.
That right there, when you threw in, when I saw event planning on the website, my eyes fluttered because there is so much involved in event planning that I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible that you're doing this. And so I thought when you came on the show today, I would see a woman with 8 arms because I was picturing a woman with 8 arms, some kind of superhero, because hats off to you for being able to provide all those services. So, my first question I want to ask about your work is how do you manage the workload? What is your strategy for making sure you hit your deadlines and you give the clients what they need?
So typically, if I have like a big project, like for example, I had an illustration project, which takes immense amount of time because illustration is one of those things. Sometimes your clients may like your art style or they may not. With those, I give myself and I let my clients know, hey, this go can take up to maybe a month or 3 months, not 3 months, Jesus, or 2 months, depending on what their deadline is. But if I have like a logo or something simple, I typically get my logos done within 24 to 72 hours if my clients are very communicative with me. Websites, same thing. I actually could get a website done probably within a week time as long as I have like the content and my customers are actually communicating with me. So I kind of just front load the easy stuff and then I just take out like a maybe an hour or two of my day to work on the harder stuff.
Okay. So what's your strategy for getting your clients to be communicative? Do you have something in your onboarding process that kind of removes the chances of hiccups or not getting, the information you need in a timely fashion?
The only like honestly the only like direct way that I like communicating with my clients is actually Facebook Messenger because, I always on my phone. I don't particularly like having my clients have my personal number for, obvious reasons. Like some people are a little weird. So, and they call at any time. But I do have some clients that do have a personal number and very like they will call me and I will answer obviously and everything is always business. So like when I have clients like that, I don't mind having, my phone number, my phone number to them. um, I guess, I let them know at the very beginning before, we sign any contracts, like, hey, this is the process. If we are doing like a logo and you don't know what you want, we set up like a Zoom meeting and we will do like a design consultant. And we will talk about, what is, your business and what is some colors, all the things that you would want in your logo. While others, they already like, hey, I want this. Can you do it? And I'm like, I love those clients because I just gotta just give them what they want. And, as long as they respond to me via uh, Facebook, it's all good. Like I have, a handful of people that don't, communicate too well. And I'm not sure is it because, they know some people just don't use Messenger that often. But some people, they're doing these businesses as a side thing and they have a full-time job just like I do. And they just just don't have time to.
Wait, hold up. You provide all those services and you have a full-time job.
Yes.
You do have 8 arms and you might have two heads. That is so much.
Yeah.
You should get, I mean, like, you need to have a party for yourself weekly because you are getting it done. What is your motivation? What's driving you to do all of this? What is there?
I can say probably just I want to leave a legacy for my family, but first before I do that, I need to get out of student debt. So,
Ah, okay. We can all
so
relate to that.
yeah, this is the only business that I'm trying to pursue. I'm actually in the process of getting my real estate license, and I actually already have my real estate investment company already like on the books. So that's something that I want to do. But this particular business is helping me, get the money that I need for making a down payment on my first investment home.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. Um, how have you found your dream clients?
Solely Facebook, Facebook, and word of mouth.
So what is your approach in Facebook? Because Facebook is a huge animal. It could be ads, it could be, groups, it could be. So what was your strategy for finding them? Just so we can share some tips with the group
Mhm.
for other people who are looking for clients.
Well, I personally just go into all of the African American entrepreneur groups. I'm also part of like several women entrepreneur groups, and some of the groups they don't allow you to post. But what I do at one point when I was like really hitting the ground hard, like I literally would be on my phone like every day, like all the time, and just scrolling through the posts and seeing someone, oh, do you like? I'm looking for someone to do a website or an app, and I just post my little splurge underneath. And I actually do like there was actually one time I remember that, you know, um, there was like maybe 50 comments. And I'm like, I'm probably not
Right.
gonna get it. And I actually, still put myself in there. And the lady reached out to me, and I was just like, "You had 50 other people to talk to, and she chose me." So the one thing I guess one advice I would say is like never just assume that you're not going to get it, even if you see that there's like 100 different comments. Just if you have a catchy, that's another thing. You have to make sure you have something catchy that catches their eye, and also always put your portfolio website if you can, if you have one. Because that also a lot of people was like, oh, like I commented on someone else's stuff and someone jumped like, oh, I saw your comment and your portfolio is great, and I'm just like, oh, thank you, and now I have another customer, just someone just going through someone else's stuff.
Right. That's all good information. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so with all of these different services, as designers, we are creative people, but we do run out of creative juices sometimes. So, how do you keep designs fresh and new and you know just inviting for each individual client? What's your take on how you get that done?
I actually like physically hand draw, so I know how to like actually draw, and sometimes I just do hand sketches and just trying to see where if my client will like it. Other things I do, look up reference art. Some things I can't just draw from my mind. I have to look at something and then I just kind of put my own twist to it. But yeah, no, I typically hand sketch or just look up reference art, or I'd be like, I don't know, just Google it.
Yeah, Google is like one of our best friends for it'll start some juices to flowing. I know for me, being in nature used to work a lot. So just taking a walk or doing something in nature would help bring about some creative juices. So let me ask you about, we've talked about the good stuff. Now let's talk about the real rough day, the valley experiences, I would say. So what challenges have you faced in when it comes to building your business?
Um, I guess the biggest challenge is when to like go to bed for me. Um, I had to eat like even before I started the whole corporate world, I always said that like I'm not going to be on any meeting after a certain time. Like that's my cutoff. But with my business is completely different. I was trying to get one of my clients things done, and I would see myself going to bed at like 12 o'clock in the morning. Like, and I will start 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'll go to bed
Mhm.
at 12 the next day. And that is so, it's like not even stressful. It's more of like you just eventually all that just cut like catch up to you, and you're just exhausted, like mentally exhausted, and you're tired, and then eventually you get frustrated because you got all the stuff to try to push out, and you're just like, but nothing's working. Computer, computer, always the computer.
Yeah, that leads to a hard crash, which um as designers, we most of our work is sedentary for the bulk, but when you get into fine art and things like that, you tend to move around and stuff.
Mm.
So self-care is important. So what do you do for self-care?
Um, One thing I like to do personally, I like to soak my feet as a
Okay.
self care. It's relaxing for me. I have two screens, so typically, even though I may be working, I can have my Criminal Minds on and be watching TV. I do have a boyfriend I live with, so I just set up time, say, "Hey, babe, you want to play some games?" And we just go and play games for like a couple hours, and then depending on the time, I'll go back to work or I just go to bed. But I always try to like fit in some me time or we time, especially because it takes up a lot of my personal time, which means my poor boyfriend don't see like actually spend a lot of time with me.
Excuse me one second.
Hmm.
Got a tickle in my throat. Yeah, so I've learned over the years that just like you block out time for business development and product improvement and other things like that, I block out the time for self care. And your health is going to be of so much more value as you get into the years I'm in. So I would say it's so important to have that as part of your routine. And so for me, just spending time in the morning, just about 15 minutes a day, focused on whatever my one health goal is. And that means movement of some type. And the other health goal has to do with intake and what I put in my body. So doing that is part of my self care. But a lot of people think, oh, I got to go get a massage or I get my nails done or I take my walk, but your self care can be a lot of different things. It's whatever keeps you going, taking your vitamins. Because many people don't do that with consistency and discipline. So that's part of self care.
I don't.
So I'm going to check in with you in the group in about a week and ask, hey, did you take your vitamins today? Just to give you that little memory jogger. But I think all of that plays a part in the the service you can provide to your clients. That's all I'm trying to say. Is we have to keep that top of mind as well. So you have a goodie for the group. Would you like to share what that is?
Sure. So, because I am doing this interview, I have created a coupon for 15% off on any of my services and or products on my website at divinedesigns.dev. The code is interview 2020. And let me see, I think it's a capital I interview
Okay.
2020.
Yes.
So I will post it
I'll do a
or
rollover
okay.
so everybody can get it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I just wanted to give that to our viewers today.
All right. Thank you so much. And is there anything you want to add before we say goodbye to the group? It was a pleasure spending this time with you.
I just want to say thank you for just, inviting me to this interview. This is my first actual interview,
Oh, okay.
talking about, my business in a whole. So I do appreciate the opportunity. And I do hope that maybe in the future we could work together because guys know I have a lot of work.
Yes, yes. Collaborate and network together to make things happen for each other. We can only rise together. So, it was my pleasure, and you did a great job on your first interview.
Thank you.
All right. So take care and have a wonderful day.
You too.